So, shit. Alright guys, welcome to 4th episode of 2nd season of Training for Victory series. Today we're gonna be cooking. So in this video you're gonna see basically know-how what we do. Well, basically how I do it, my experience from last prep, which I learned a ton of ways how to save time while still cooking your everyday meals. We're gonna be doing 7 days prep. Basically, not all of the meals gonna be ready for 7 days, but mostly the side's gonna be done. You're gonna learn how to do it in advance, so you're always ready. During the last prep, we've been I had a structure from apps, which I have done, and during that I learned how to prepare everything quickly, because I'm still working 8 hours job and I'm still training 2.5 hours in the gym. That can be time consuming, and you want to be ready always. When you come home, you want to have your meal ready, and when you come from gym, you want to have your meal ready as well, so that way you never miss a meal. That way you're going to maximize the gains and you're going to maximize the regeneration of the muscles. So now we prepare the oven to 190 degrees, because that's my standard temperature I do for everything. Fans on, start, let it heat it up. So that's gonna be extremely quick. Once we have things ready, we just bang them in, that's it. So the things I do, I don't defrost them, I just put them in as they are. This fish is tasteless. That's what we like with apps. That's what we like the most about it. So it's just easy to eat, and this will be the meal before the gym. Before we hit the gym, we always got fish and rice, just because it's so easy to digest and it keeps your fuel in. That is probably the best thing you can eat before the gym. No seasoning, no lemon, no butter, nothing. Just pure fish. And that's it, ready. So, as you can see, this chicken is the farm foods chicken. You remember this one? Because it's already salty, there is salt in it, which means there is a perfect taste to it. I don't defreeze it or defrost it, I don't know which one is right. I just put it on, let it cook, I don't touch it, nothing goes on there again. The taste is perfect. You try it, you see it. The best thing about this is that they sell 3 kilos for 10 quid. You're gonna make like 2.5 days worth of chicken in how much? Well, basically that much. I'm gonna slide it in, and that's it. So the next one will be broccoli. There is never too much broccoli. You're gonna chop it up, cook it, and then smash it. So we want to do this all in one go. This will be broccoli worth of 3 days. I'm having broccoli with every meat-based meal 5 times a day. Yeah, 5 times a day, which is a lot, but we're having 100 grams with every meal, and you definitely want to add as much veggies to your daily intake as you can. The best way to do broccoli, add it into the boiling water, so the water have to be boiling, and 3 minutes not longer than that. 3 minutes, that's all that you need. So add it in for 3 minutes, take it out. Broccoli for 3 days is done. Then we're gonna do this one more time during the week, and that's all week of sides. I'm doing only one side, and it's not because I believe it's the best side ever, but because it's so simple. And I like quick and simple because I have more time then. So now we're preparing the meal number 1 for every day, which is quite big one, but one part of it is minced beef. So I take the lean minced beef, which is 5% beef, and fry it with some spices. So what I have this with is 5 egg whites, 2 yolks, and 105 grams of oats, and 100 grams of blueberries. What we add here is pepper, ton of pepper. There is never too much. This is a Polish one, and it's spicy, so I'm not gonna add like too much, not a ton, just a half ton of it. Then we have Slovakian one, goulash zmes. You guys might not know this, but it's bloody amazing. It's basically salt and pepper and some garlic blend.
What's it called?
Goulash zmes. It's basically the mixture that's supposed to go in a goulash.
Okay.
But it's perfect. And this is the chicken stock. Well, not stock, but spices for chicken, Polish ones. Spicy ones. And well, I don't have the mild ones, so it's gonna be hot more than tomorrow. So why we choose the minced beef instead of steak? Because we can use the steak, but minced beef we have because it's just so easy to do every single morning. If you want to cook steak every morning, it's time consuming. You won't do it, that's for sure. With this minced beef, I'm actually gonna take it into 2 containers. One container I'm gonna leave in the fridge, and the second one I'm gonna freeze it up. So every single morning I'm gonna take 100 grams of mince. I'm gonna just warm it up in a microwave, and I'm gonna cook some fresh eggs to it, mix it up, eat it. And once I'm gonna be out of the first container, I'm gonna take second one from the freezer. The taste after defrosting, it's perfect. It's just the same as the one that was in the fridge, which means you're gonna have this for whole week, for every morning. Saves a ton of time and adds a lot of proteins into your first meal with minimum effort. So a small tip with the fish, the way I did it is take it out halfway through, because you can see there is a lot of water in there, and the fish at the top is already cooked. Fish at the bottom might not be cooked yet. So what I do, just to make sure I don't have to do it twice and the fish is cooked through, I just take the water out. You can see the fish is much smaller than when we put it in, but we're gonna use 200 grams of dry fish in our pre-workout meal, which is gonna make this one bag which we put in into sort of 2 portions. That's why I usually do more of the fish. For sake of this video, I'm gonna show you 1 bag. I usually do like 3 bags in one day and freeze them up. Because I don't have any seasoning on this fish, and it's tasteless, and that's what I like about it. I don't need much taste before I go gym. I just need something to go in and have those macros in there. So the fish is perfect. You freeze it up, then you take it out when you need it, and it still, guess what? It still doesn't have any taste, so it's good. This chicken is the chicken I usually do only on Sunday and only for 3 days. The other chicken that you've seen from Farm Foods, that's the chicken breast. Well, just the chicken breast. And the good thing about it is you just bang it in and you go your way. 50 minutes later you come back, you have it done. This one is actually Sunday today, and well, that's the day when I do the cooking and I have time to prep something nice. So that's why I'm prepping chicken thigh fillets. If it would be seasonal prep, I'm not allowed this. There is a lot of fat in it, but fat means taste. So that's why, well, we do it now. So my best recipe, salt and pepper, as usually. Then we have tulashová zmes again, so which is like salt and paprika and some small traces of spices, which I'm not sure which they are, but it's lovely. Cannot get it here, guys, but if you ever go to Slovakia, well, that's the thing to buy. Then we have sweet pepper, well, paprika, sweet paprika. I can tell you one thing, there is never too much paprika on your chicken. So you're gonna use half bag on this one and half bag on this one. Lovely. And some chicken seasoning from Polish shop, which is the spicy one. Przyprawa do kurczaka.
Say that again?
Przyprawa do kurczaka. It's Polish. I know how to read Polish, guys. Don't get mistaken, I'm Slovakian. So, another thing I add into me Sunday chicken thigh fillets is honey. I don't add too much, so don't worry, guys. It's not a ton of sugar in there. It's just a little bit for the taste. So abs, don't worry. This is not a cheat meal. Tiny bit of honey per 1.5 kilo of chicken. Okay, so the minced beef is done. We're just gonna let it to cool now. This is how it looks, guys. There is sort of like 1 week of minced beef worth. Now we have chicken thigh fillets, which stay there for sort of like 10-15 minutes. We can leave it stay for longer, but yeah, I would say it's good. So just put them on a tray or the glass. I'm not putting any oil in there. I didn't put any oil in here as well. It's just spices and its own juices and a tiny bit of honey for the taste. So this is sort of how it's gonna look like. Another one. It looks like a lot, but actually I won't be freezing this one. I'm not freezing the seasoned chicken. You can do it, but I don't do it necessarily. I do only seasoned chicken for 3 days. After that, I'm doing the farm foods one, which is the quick one and tastes very nice anyway. So let's put this one in the oven. So another thing we prepare for whole week is the sweet potatoes. There is never too much of those that you can prep. I usually prep them for a week, sometimes even for 2, because this is another thing that I'm freezing up after cooking, and it's gonna last months if you want to leave it in the freezer. So if you have a long day, if you have a long time, well, if you have some free time in your weekend, you can prep up for much more than 1 week. I'm gonna show you prep for sort of 1 week, but you can prep as much as you want. All I'm doing is I'm just cleaning them up. I'm not taking the skin off. I'm baking and eating them with the skin on. The only thing that you have to make sure is that when you're buying them, you can buy some pieces which are just disastrous. They are scratched all over the place and they have bugs everywhere. You should buy nice pieces which doesn't have many flaws in them. That's when you don't have to cut out almost nothing. Because we're eating them with the skin, you want to make sure that you don't eat nothing that you don't want to eat. You don't eat nothing nasty. So I'm just taking both ends off, and then I'm taking out the pieces that look not healthy, and that's all. So basically from this one, I would cut out this, this piece, and then you see there is nothing wrong or bad anymore, not much. And now I'm gonna cut it into sort of like small moons. I'm gonna show you a special technique, which is my best technique that I do. If you cut it so it's high, nice and high and pointy, exactly like this, then you can cook it so it caramelizes and is really dry and nice. So that's it, exactly the way how you want to have it cut and how you want to put it into the oven. So cut it just like this. And I'm gonna put it onto the tray. And so we have a baking paper, and we're just gonna nicely lie it down this way. As you can see, there is not much of potato touching the bottom, and a lot of space is free, which makes sure that when you put the fan on, it will dry it out nicely and it's sort of like caramelized. That's what I love about it. When it's really dry and you put it into the freezer, it tastes better after you take it out, because once you leave the water in, when it gets frozen, the water breaks down the structure. If there is not much water, it's just same as you put it in, and it tastes lovely. Okay, so you know the meal number 1, which was mince, eggs, and oats, and now I'm gonna tell you about the meal 2. So meal 2, well, meal 1 I have 6:30 in the morning. Meal 2 I'm having 8 o'clock or 8:30, which is 2 hours later. Then I'm having meal 3 2 hours later. It's perfect spacing. The only problem is that 8:30 I'm at work and I'm working and I'm not supposed to be eating, so I'm forced to not have any chicken and rice, and I'm forced to have a shake. But because I don't want just like protein with milk, I have some proper nutrition stuff which I add in there, and it adds nutritional value and well, more good things, which I'm gonna tell you about now. So the first thing I'm adding into the shake is tvarog, which translates to English as a cottage cheese or yeast. Well, I think it's yeast, but cottage cheese, that's what they say. Basically what is inside is 16 grams of protein per 100 grams of tvarog, and you have 3.5 grams of fats, 3.5 grams of carbs. So basically it's much more protein than anything else inside of this. Also, it's made out of milk, which means there is a ton of probiotics in it, which helps with your digestion. So I'm gonna add 150 grams of tvarog. That's 150. Yep. Then for the carbs, I'm gonna add rice. Yes, you can hear it right. I'm adding rice to the shake, and this will make sure that you have the supply of sort of slow carbs during the day. So you don't want to have one meal which is only proteins, one meal which is only carbs, another meal which is only protein, because then your insulin is just like jumping all over the place. What we want to do is to have like nice supply of carbs through the day. So that's why we have meals every 2 hours. So 100 grams of rice, which is not too many carbohydrates, but it's always something, it's always good. So we're gonna add that in there. Then the last thing we're gonna add is protein powder. That's the only regular thing which you see in every shake, which can add a lovely taste. Again, it's PB and Probody Nutrition one from Amazon, which costs 24 quid and have just the same blend like Optimal Nutrition one, which is concentrate and isolate in it. Perfect thing. But first, let's blend it out with the water. I'm not adding any milk in there. There is tvarog, which is like cottage cheese made out of milk. There is whey protein made out of milk. You don't need any more milk in there. So a bit of water. Blend it. So now we add not 1 but 2 scoops of protein, because more flavor is better. So it's like a protein bomb. There is, I guess, 24 grams of protein per 1 scoop in here, so that's like 50 grams of protein. And then we have 150 grams of tvarog, which is like another 40 grams of protein, which is way over the limit that you need, because they say that you can only digest 35 grams of protein per meal, but this one, protein is not really a natural, well, it is natural, but it's not really like a fresh meal thing, so that's why you can digest probably more of it. You have a twarog, which, well, you can digest really easy. It's all easy to digest, this meal, so that's why I'm shooting high in proteins in there. Alright guys, so we are almost at the finish, and we spoke about first 2 meals that I got, and basically next 2 meals are chicken based. So we have meal 3, which is 170 grams of chicken and 250 grams of sweet potatoes, which are almost being finished over there. The trick, if you do the sweet potatoes the way I do them, they get drier and the water gets out of them, so they are lighter. So the way I found how I do it is I don't actually weight 250 grams, I weight only 125 grams, because if you finish them up in a state I do, they lose probably half of the weight. So I weigh them at 125 when I'm supposed to have 250 grams of sweet potatoes. So that's meal number 3, 10 o'clock, 10:30. Then we have meal number 4, which is 1 o'clock. The meal number 4 is again 170 grams of chicken and 250 grams of sweet potatoes. Well, that one's a variable. I can use sweet potatoes, I can use white potatoes, which we are not doing today, but everyone got the idea how to do it. Or we can use 200 grams of rice. It's up to you. They are very similar in macros, but meal number 4 is usually 170 grams of chicken and or sweet or white potatoes. You're gonna use sweet this time. Then we are to meal number 4, which is pre-workout meal, which is a fish and rice. So we got 200 grams of fish and 200 grams of rice. Then let's don't forget the meat-based meals are coming with 100 grams of broccoli, which we had with every meal. So this would be like 3 days worth of broccoli, which would be 4 broccoli heads. Then it comes to meal number 5. Meal number 5 is my post-workout meal, which is oats with blueberries, and I'm also eating 100 grams of chicken with it, which just make sure that I'm having N proteins well with next 2 hours, because I was eating before the gym, then I was training. Now it's time to get some proteins in. 100 grams of chicken before we get to the last meal. The last meal, I haven't showed it here, is Greek style yogurt mixed with protein, the PBN one, you know which one I mean, and 20 grams of cashew nuts. I'm going to show you which cashew nuts I use. So those are the ones I'm using. Cashew nuts from Lidl, 170 per bag, and the bag lasts at least 3, 4, 5 days if you eat it alone. So, and what sort of Greek yogurt I use? I like to use Greek style yogurt, which is nice and thick. I mean, if you buy the smaller packages, they are more thick than this one, which I like more. This one is not so thick, but it's very nice with the protein and cashew nuts. So we use 380 grams of Greek yogurt, 20 grams of cashew nuts, and 20 grams of protein. So the 2 things I haven't showed today, which was the white potatoes, which you know how to cook, so ready to use. I wouldn't recommend to freeze them, so you have to cook them fresh. That's why I prefer to do the sweet potatoes, which you can freeze for months if you want, because once you take them out, they taste really nice. We have been doing them for 50 minutes. They actually can be done for longer. It depends where in the oven you actually have them. They've been a bit lower. If they've been a bit higher, they will be more dry. which more dry is very nice. So if you want, you can burn them a bit more. It's all good. For the rice, this is the rice I always use because it's very nice for the shake. It's jasmine rice. I use jasmine rather than the basmati ones because the jasmine is nice after the cooking. It's not so starchy. So once I blend it up, it's just nice and smooth shake. It doesn't have the starchy texture in it. It's really nice in the end. We buy this pack from the local shop. It's a 5 kg bag, comes to 7 or 8 quid. So all we showed you is the sides for sort of whole week. I'm saying sort of because we usually make more of the sweet potatoes, but for the sake of this video, this is what we've done. Usually make like 3 kilos of sweet potatoes in one go. So basically we have sides for a week. We have the sides of veggies for 3 days. We have fish. Each pack of this fish is one pre-workout meat. So that's like 6 days, almost a week. So we have fish for 6 days. We have beef mince. This will work out. That was 1 kilo of beef mince, extra lean ones. It will work out for 1 week. We have 1 kilo of farm foods chicken. Then we have 3 kilos of chicken thigh fillets with a special seasoning. This meat will work out to 3.5-4 days. After that, we're gonna cook another one. Usually during the week, I'm quite busy, so I'm just cooking the farm foods one, which I just bang in and I'm on my way and I'm doing my things. So basically, it comes all our costs, including everything, including the blueberries in me, oats, including the spices, including the veggies and all kinds of meat, comes to roughly 50 quid a week, which is really not bad for 7 meals a day, 7 days a week. So that would be pretty much everything, guys. Glad you found time to watch the video, and hope you liked it. Hope it helps you with organizing your weekly and daily meal plans, and well, see you next video.